Hi everyone, welcome to our session on the Bhagavad Gita. We will be talking about the Bhagavad Gita from the pranic healing angle. The idea being that the Bhagavad Gita has a lot of energy interpretation and has a lot of tools that we can use and incorporate in our life. And we're going to use some of the teachings of pranic healing from Master Choka Sui to understand this version of the Bhagavad Gita a little bit better. Okay, so with that, let's start. Let's close our eyes, connect the tongue to the palate. Inhale and exhale. Let us invoke to the Supreme God. Divine Father, Divine Mother, we thank you for your priceless blessings, for divine light, divine love, divine guidance, divine love, mercy, inner healing, physical healing. Thank you for the inner strength to practice regularly. Thank you for your divine help and protection, for illumination, abundance, and prosperity. Thank you. Let's do the soul affirmation. I am that I am. I am not the body. I have a body. I am not the emotions. I have emotions. I am not the thoughts. I create thoughts. I am the soul. I am a spiritual being of divine intelligence, divine love, and divine power. I am one with my higher soul. I am that I am. I am one with the divine spark within me. I am a child of God. I am connected with God. I am one with God, and I am one with all. Inhale and exhale. So today we'll be talking about Kashi Raj. So Kashi Raja basically was the Nana, if you may say so, of Dhritarashtra and Pandu. Okay, so we'll try to understand him and his actions from the point of view of pranic healing and how to work on it. So Kashi Raj is considered to be a discriminative intelligence. Now, I don't know if you remember, but basically Pandu is referred to as pure intelligence, and his Nana, so to say, Kashi Raj is considered to be discriminative intelligence. Now, while I was working on this, one of the questions that came to my mind was that why. So anyway, let's move on with the story. Okay, so so Kashi, just to put things in perspective, is also called Banaras. It is also called Varanasi, and it is located in Uttar Pradesh in India. It is located on the left bank of the Ganges, and it is one of the seven sacred cities of Hinduism. So one of the interesting things that I find is that Kashi Raj, when he was having the Swayambar for his three daughters, he chose not to invite the king of Hastinapur. So he chose not to invite Vichitravir, who was the king of Hastinapur, which is very interesting because of what happened next. So, so Kashi is based around three rivers. There are the three rivers are Assi, Varun, and Ganga. And Kashiraj also had three daughters. I'm not sure about the relevance of this, but it just came to my mind. So I put it out here just in case somebody else has any insights. Because again, we're looking at this as a book study. We are looking at this as something that will help us to think, to understand, to put the physical, the emotional, and the intellectual all together, and to make it a practice where we practice and we understand how these scriptures work. Okay, now Kashi was apparently founded by Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva, if we just quickly recall, is the aspect of God that is called the will aspect of God. So the will aspect of God is actually what helps us to overcome our bad habits to some extent, and the will aspect of God is also something that when provides us the power. Now the power and the purpose together is what causes us to do things positively. Okay, so according to Hindu legend, Banaras or Varanasi is more than 5,000 years old, which is really, really long, is considered to be the oldest city in the world, though the evidence of habitation goes back only to 3,000 years, according to BBC. Now, I just wanted to comment on that is that basically just because the evidence of habitation goes back to 3,000 years, doesn't necessarily mean that it was not inhabited. The reason why I say this is because if we are aware of the great cycle, the great year, as mentioned by Sri Yukteswar Giri, we are aware that there are many cycles before the cycle of today, which is basically the point where we believe that, you know, when we do something that we don't see, we don't really understand usually. Okay. And of course, if you do Arhatic yoga and you do pranic healing, then you're making the first step, which is to understand the etheric body. But then there's also the emotional and there's also the mental, right? And so it is possible that this place was inhabited before that. Okay. So Kashi Raj is the discriminative intelligence, and he sort of takes on the ego. He was the father of the three princesses, Amba, Ambika, and Ambalika. He did not invite the king of Hastinapur, Chitrangad, at that time for the Swayamvar of his daughters. And I think basically it's Vichitravir who later, marries these daughters. I think this is an error, but anyway. So in anger, Bhishma goes to the Swayamvar and kidnaps all the daughters of Kashiraj, defeating him and all the other kings present in the Swayamvar, including Salva, who the elder daughter princess had decided to marry. So I think a lot of us are familiar with this story, but we'll just go through it. So if you remember, then what happens is that Amba is so determined to marry Shalya that she basically tells Bhishma that she's not going to marry the king of Hastinapur, that she is going to want to marry Shalya. And she leaves and she tries to go back to him. And he basically says that you were taken by another, so now I'm not going to marry you. And then there's a whole process by which she basically gets very angry and she takes a vow to kill Bhishma. Now, Bhishma, if we look at it from the angle of the energy side, as described by Paramhans Yogananda, is the ego. So what comes to my mind is that discriminative intelligence tries to ignore the ego, okay? And in the process of ignoring the ego, what happens is that the ego gets destroyed in the end. So it is actually Amba in the form of Shikhandi who reincarnates and then is the cause of death of Bhishma on the war, in the war of Kurukshetra. So, if I just take a second to just think about this a little bit, the discriminative intelligence cannot afford to ignore the ego is what comes to my mind. So what that means is that if the ego is behaving in a certain way, then we have to step back, use our discriminative intelligence and work with the ego rather than try to ignore the ego, because ignoring the ego can have some interesting consequences. Okay, this is just sort of my thought. And the second daughter is Ambika. She is the mother of the Dhritarashtra, the blind king. And then there's Ambalika, who is the mother of Pandu, who is also called pure intelligence. So the five Pandavas are born out of Pandu, and their grandmother is Ambalika. Ambalika is the lady with perception, with clear discernment, which means that she can discern things. And Ambika is the one without clear discernment. And the grandfather of both is Vichitravir and not Chitrangad. So sorry about that. Who is also the divine ego. So we are dealing with a couple of characters here. We are dealing with Bhishma, who is the ego. We are dealing with Vichitravir, who is the divine ego. We are dealing with Pandu, who is pure intelligence, and Kashi Raj, who is discriminative intelligence. Now, sometimes all these terms can be too much, but then what I feel is that this is basically, the Bhagavad Gita is basically a step-by-step understanding of how to conquer the body, the mind, and the soul. So when we do the soul affirmation, what we are essentially saying is that we want to be able to manage our bodies, all our bodies, three bodies, properly. And in order to do that, we need to be aware of all these other factors. Okay, so my biggest takeaway from this is that discriminative ego needs to pay attention and give proper respect to the ego. And the marriage of the divine ego with discernment is what brings about the growth of the Pandavas. Okay, so what do we mean by all of this? So to bring it down to a more simple level where we can practice, the idea is that let us think of something that we know we need to do. So our discriminative intelligence basically tells us that this is something that we need to do, and the ego interferes. Okay, so let's say, for example, I know I should perhaps, do something for someone, but my ego interferes. Or let's say, for example, my discriminative intelligence tells me that perhaps I should forgive this person for what they've done, for example, but my ego interferes and says, no, we are not going to forgive this person. Okay, that's just one example. You may have other examples. So let's just take a few seconds, because again, the purpose of all of these stories, at least in this particular forum, is to help us understand the roles of all of this and to make it a practice. So let's just think of some practice that our discriminative intelligence decides to ignore, and the ego comes in and takes the daughters away from the Swayamvar. So let's just think for a few seconds. Let's also think of those incidents where our discriminative ego has brought about, pure intelligence and has also helped us. Okay, so first let's reaffirm the good. So if this is too complicated, then I would just suggest that you think of something that we've done right. Okay, something where we had to discern between what is right and what is wrong. Or, let's say if someone's telling us something and we are like, okay, let me investigate this a little bit more. Let me not just believe blindly what I'm being told. Let me think about this, or let me examine it. Okay, so let's be aware of things that we use our discrimination. And then let's be aware of something that we didn't use our discrimination, and let's try and erase that. So let's erase the tendency to ignore the ego. We are not going to ignore the ego. We're going to take the ego along in whatever we do. Okay, so let's be aware. Let's mentally erase. Let's mentally erase something that the ego does, such as kidnapping perception, taking over something that it's not supposed to. Let's erase that. And let's replace it with a discriminative intelligence. What can we do under that situation? What is the right thing to do under that situation? So just to help us. So one of the ways to break this down is to think of all the Pandavas. So we have we have Yudhishthir, which is good speech. We have Arjun, solar plexus, the dancing fire, as we discussed last time. We have Bhim from the heart aspect. We have Nakul and Shahadev from the heart, the sex chakra and the basic chakra. So let's just be aware of all of the Pandavas, and let us think of something perhaps that we said, that we did, that needed to be done differently. Okay, and let's also resolve to be aware of discriminative intelligence, to be aware of Kashiraj, to be aware that inviting the ego and having a discussion with the ego is a good way to prevent the daughters from being kidnapped. This is, again, the way I'm interpreting this particular story. Okay. So one of the ways that we do this, of course, in the Pranic Healing School is that we have all these workshops which slowly help us to build our discriminative intelligence. And just wanted to share this slide with you. Okay. Okay. So in that state, let us now open our eyes. Let's be aware of our crown, our heart, and our hands. Let's raise our hands in blessing position. Let's visualize the planet Earth in front of us. Let's first bless Mother Earth with divine light, divine love, and divine power. May we be instruments of healing coming from the Supreme God. Let's bless the entire planet Earth with the ability to overcome the impact of the coronavirus rapidly and properly. Let's bless every person, every family affected. Let's zoom into our continent, our country, our state, our city, our neighborhood, our homes, to the place where we are sitting right now. Let's bless the entire place. Let's bless the financial targets of everyone on the group. Let's be aware of the role of our ego in our financial targets. Are these financial targets full of discriminative intelligence? Let's be aware of the role of discriminative intelligence in our financial targets. Are they realistic? Let's bless the health targets of every person on the group. Let's also be aware of our own health targets. What is the role of ego in our health targets? Are there emotional upsets that are causing ill health? Let's be aware of everyone's relationship targets and bless them. And then let's be aware of our own relationship targets. Is it our ego? Our discriminative intelligence? Are they working together to help us to achieve good relationships? Let's bless the spiritual targets of everyone on the group and our own spiritual target. And the role of intelligence, discrimination, and ego. You know, sometimes we think, why should I be the one doing it? Why me? And sometimes the answer that I get is A, because you're a good instrument. B, because only those who can do can be asked to do things. So in case we are feeling overburdened or overwhelmed, let's just be aware that we are carrying a heavier load because we can help others. What we can do is we can invoke to the Supreme God for divine intelligence, divine love, and divine power to flow through us, to make us divine instruments, to be able to help more and more people, our friends, our family. Let's be aware of the crown, the heart, and the hands. Visualize beautiful bright light flowing through us. And let's direct it to wherever we want to send it. Let's also visualize ourselves. Let's bless ourselves with the discriminative intelligence, with the ability to perceive, with the ability to discern. Let's bless our special projects. Let's bless anyone who's asked us for blessings. Inhale and exhale. Release the energy. Okay. For those of us who are done, let's massage our face, our scalp. shoulders, elbows, hands, chest, liver, spleen, kidneys at the back. Please exercise before you go. That's to help ground the energy. So thank you everyone for joining us for today's session, which was on Kashi Raj, discriminative intelligence, and the role of Bhishma, the ego. And the other takeaway that we have from this is, the awareness of our ego in certain actions and the repercussions of that. So that's what I wanted to share, and I hope you enjoyed the session, and we'll see you soon.